Pulse has taken the world by storm as the leading Web3 social media. Beyond current features like casting, tipping, inscription trading, and earning, it's now elevating to the next level, on-chain.
Soil, a fully regulated, seamless link between traditional finance and the digital crypto world, offering secure returns fully backed by tangible, real-world assets.
The Credify testnet is live, so head on over to demo.credify.finance to see how you can effortlessly experiment with autonomous earning, NFT corporate bonds, Credi and X-Credi utilities, and Module X.
Good afternoon, everyone. BC Richfield here, coming to you live from London. It's just gone 1 minute past midday, making it 1 minute past 1100 UTC. A big shout out to everybody joining us live today. Hello, Erica in the chat as well, and everybody else in the chat too. Great to have you all here, and also a mention to everybody that watches this on recording. So, what are we looking at today? Well, we've had some decent kind of news coming to the market. I know we've seen this really big sell-off. We're just going to run through, or I am going to run through with you today, some of our high time frame levels, some of the key areas that we're looking for, explain a little bit around why we were kind of looking at this area to take the bounces. We've had some lovely bounce trades, not just us, the trading team, but community members as well, all managing to still print some profit, even though the conditions are poor. So a couple of things I wanted to kind of look at today from a more kind of a helicopter view, if you like, of the markets, right? Because we've been getting a lot of questions from people who are coming in. So for anybody that doesn't know or isn't aware, we have opened up our Discord. All right. So the Discord access, as well as access to all of our courses, all of our training, the trading team calls, the community, is all absolutely free. Okay, you can find this down in the description below. You don't have to necessarily message me now, but please do if you would like to, and I'll instruct you how to do it. You can also go onto the Birdnest Twitter account and find access for that. The idea is for us is just to give a little bit of something back to you guys, to a community that have kind of given us so much over the years. So if that is of interest, please do let us know. So anyway, on to the charts, and we're going to be doing our alt request show today as well, guys. So if you have an asset that you're looking at, you got an asset that you're in, or you would like some charting done on it, then we're going to cap this show today at 30 minutes, and we're just going to aggressively fly through as many charts as we can. So please do let me know in the comments. Going to start with Bitcoin just while we put this on here. Hey, Whack, how you doing, my friend? Simon as well, see you in there. Simon, so BC, are we dumping further? So really good question. And I tell you how I'm looking at this, right? So the reason that I was happy to bid this is quite simply just looking at it from a logical perspective, right? Whether you're somebody that uses indicators to trade or moving averages, whether you're price action purist, etc., then sometimes it's just good to break things down and think about it almost on a psychological perspective of just simple buyers and sellers, okay? Now, this consolidation here before this massive rip, was where we saw a lot of buying pressure. People stepped into the market here. We had this nice consolidation, and then the market completely ripped. So if you took it away from crypto for a moment, for example, or tradable assets, or even the S&P 500, for example, and you just use an old, excuse me, it seems like a silly analogy really, but looking at a fruit and veg cart, right? Now, the key thing you've got here is if this was the price of apples down here, when the price of apples was up here, people didn't really see value at that. So there was either an oversupply issue and people weren't happy to pay that. So price grinds its way down till it finds an equilibrium. Then what happens is demand steps in, right? So apples at that price, let's say 10p an apple for argument's sake, apples at that price is considered real value. So people start buying, then it goes 11p. All of a sudden, apples up here get to 20p. Now you've got a big decision to make. Then you're kind of saying to yourself, all right, look at the rules of supply and demand. So many people were happy to buy up apples here because they felt that the price was going so much higher. And it therefore, self-fulfilling prophecy time, led to this massive rip. Then what happens is people are saying, well, hang on, we're paying 50p an apple up here. This doesn't quite feel right. So then the market kind of goes into this state of flux, which we've been in for a while. And you see these ebbs and flows. Martin, my friend, I'm not Burb, unfortunately, mate. Polly, we are obviously advertising on your channel. BC Richfield here on behalf of the wonderful man himself. So I will absolutely take a look at Solana for you, my friend. Let me just make a note of that. Probably tell how old school I am by the fact you can hear me tearing the page off of a post-it note. Sipsalia, probably another name that I've absolutely murdered, but you're very welcome to the show, mate. Great to have you here, and thank you very much as well, Martin, for the suggestion. We'll absolutely look at Sol. So anyway, how can this help us, right? Well, what we can do is we can look at what are known as kind of areas of mitigation. So this was one here. I'm just going to make this a lighter purple because this is typically how you will see them. Great, Mexico, wonderful, my friend. Beautiful. Big dream of mine to go there. A couple of reasons. I'm a very passionate scuba diver, so would love to go and dive the cenotes and would love to go and do some big shark diving out there as well, like we've done in South Africa. So we're in here. Yeah, consolidation. What happens when we revisit this place? Well, one or two things is going to happen for me. Buyers are going to step in. If this was considered value before, buyers are going to step in again. People are also going to take profit around key areas where they know there's liquidity. Why is there liquidity resting here? Quite simply below all of these lows. Why below all of these lows? Because just quite simply, that's where people's stop losses are, right? People that were long from here, for example, or people that jumped on, there's your risk, as everybody's taught, and price goes up to here. So what happens when price runs these stops and stops people out? Well, quite simply, you create a bundle of market sell orders as the market pukes the positions back in at the very best rate that it can get, all right? So when it comes into here, this is a very attractive proposition for smart and savvy investors, right? Because they can fill larger orders in here. Why? Because you've got this ready-made pile and bundle of sell orders. So they can just simply say, all right, I'll take the other side of that bet. Thank you very much. All of a sudden, they're now up, say, 14%. Their trades look something like this, if we compare it to what the other one was, yeah? Even if we say, right, there you go, similar. So now they can mitigate that risk quite comfortably, move their stop loss to entry, for example, if that's part of their strategy. Either way, these people are now in profit. So we now have a big decision to make, right? We now need to say to ourselves, how do we now ascertain where price is going to go from here, right? From Malta, one of my favorite places. So dive Malta a lot, like maybe 15 plus times over the years. We stay in St. Julian with this magnificent company called DiveWise and TechWise, very, very good friends of ours over the years. Love going and diving the old World War fleet around there, plus just such a beautiful, beautiful country. That and Gozo as well. Absolutely magical, just flooded me back with so many memories there, mate. Nice. Go to Baja Scuba. Awesome. Nit, hello, mate. Fantastic. And brilliant. Good share from our Ghost in the Machine in the background. Premium community is open. And you can get all of that for free. Should be in the description below, but obviously you've got this link here as well now if you want it, if anybody has any issues. Just there's no cats, there's no credit card sign, there's no nonsense. You just get 60 days access, or well, slightly less. We've opened the whole thing for free for 2 months. So the sooner you get in, the more that you can make of it. Hey, my boy. There he is. The crypto assessor himself, our legendary FA analyst, Big Chris, big love BC, got cap already deployed to INJ. Does it look like it's bouncing off? You know what, my friend, we will absolutely take a look at that for you. Absolute dude, fellow Brit as well. And his lovely, lovely partner, Kubra, who's just one of the best degen Bitcoin traders you'll ever see, just deploys epic leverage at the most ridiculously well-ascertained times. But we'll maybe get her on a show at one point. But anyway, before I digress too much, this is a key area for me. Now, when we're looking at these areas of mitigation, what I'm looking for, and SZ was a huge influence on me with this, is I'm looking for these areas of consolidation. And I want to see what happens the other side of it, right? So if I'm ever in doubt with this, then I typically favor the bodies. Just make sure we got this the same color. I'm looking across to here, right, and saying to ourselves, oh, buyers stepped in here before. What really kind of worries me here? Oh, and here she is. guys, do make sure you give these legends a follow on here. Yeah, you got the crypto assessor. You can find all his details through the site, and you've got the lovely meme queen as well. You can't miss her when you go on to the Twitter page. So now we're here. I'm asking myself, what's price doing? How's it reacting here? We can see how we just easily carved through this. You'll probably notice similarities to how I approach using inversion gaps, okay, which I'll discuss very briefly in a moment. So what we're looking at here is, I'm saying to myself, right, look, when price came into here, this was the consolidation, and the decision was made within that consolidation that price was ready to rip, all right? So buyers stepped in quite aggressively. We got up to here, happy days. Now, the next thing that you're kind of saying to yourself here is, well, how do you make a premise out of that? Well, quite simply, with the detail that we've got here, with this rip as we came up into here, what I'm then looking at is look at the up close candles here that led to this sell-off, right? This is our area of mitigation again, okay? Sorry if you hear some noise out there today, guys. We live on the beach down here, so it's, you know, or not really the beach, it's on the mouth of the Thames in London, but there is a little bit of beach, mostly stone, but the sun is out here in London, so people are really making the most of it. So look, up close candles led to this big sell-off. Look at the way the price engages with this. It sets this, which sets kind of a large order block here, combination of these candles. And then what happens? Price closes below here, retests it pretty much to the cent, and then just dives. So when we look at these areas of consolidation, we're looking how price reacts. So when price got here again, yeah, remembering that sellers were aggressive in here before. So let's do that in red to show that's an area of danger that we want to watch out for. Quite simply, the reason I want to be short here is because I want to see this area flipped, yeah, before I start thinking that we're going in the opposite direction. If there were aggressive sellers here before, nothing to say that those people weren't smart enough to buy here, same way they bought here, sold here, correct the market, bought here again, sold here. That's why price spends most of its life within a range, right? So if we just take a look at this very quickly, price typically lives within a range. Yeah, whether you take it from there to there, however you draw your ranges, you can see quite clearly, right, price just ranging between these levels, support, resistance, trending here, ranging again here, trending here, but then look, you know, the size of this range here, for example, we had this large expansion into here. You kind of got this area as well, acting as a range, this as a range above it. Price spends over 70% of the time, I believe, if that's still accurate. It certainly was when I studied it many years ago within a ranging environment. So we're just playing this level to level, right? And I want to see this area conquered, and I want to see this area turn to support, all right? And, you know, that is a very, very simple premise, and that's what we've kind of got at the moment here. Price hasn't quite achieved that yet, right? We want to see price above this area. We want to see this used as a platform of support. And at the moment, it's still resistance, right? That's not to be, you know, the naysayer, people saying, oh, we got the big recovery coming in. Look, we need to be careful, right? There's a lot of positive news catalysts coming into the market. And as somebody, you know, gets accused of being a conspiracy theorist all the time, I think I'm actually just pretty logical, is that these big dumps could very well be in order because people, the major players in these markets don't really consider Bitcoin value up here. You know, we've just had the ETF for Bitcoin. We've had the ETF now for Ethereum, right? We've got this positive news injecting into the market. I don't think they want to be buyers up here. I think they want to buy lower down. And at the end of the day, we need to look at markets as a whole. If the news is true today that the US is about to stimulate 50 billion or whatever into the economy, then that is basically money printing, which is quantitative easing. That's what we saw through COVID, for example, when we saw these huge pumps. So maybe this is the start of something. However, I want to be as certain as I can be. So there's my theory for you. This is something you can all do. You find these areas of consolidation. Look how price is reacting. If price is giving you, you know, bearish signals in here, chances are it probably wants a bit lower. Price really starts to recover these. Like, this is a brilliant recovery wick. Look at the length on that. Look at the length on this. Look at the length on these, right? And yeah, you will get them here as well in these smaller pumps. But look at any time we get these abnormally large downside wicks, normally a sign that buyers are stepping in. But we need this to be sustained. So we're now going to just drop that, and we're going to say to ourselves, right, on a daily scale, we appreciate the fact that we're in a dangerous area here. We want to see this recovered a bit. Then I think we can start to move up. Where I'd really like to see, and I appreciate it's probably going to get most people into the market a lot later than they would like, is I would like to see this bearish gap. I'm just going to move this back to purple to show that it's an area of mitigation. This is a bearish gap. I'd like to see price close above that. Then I think we would show a lot of momentum because there's very little to stop it moving higher here on a daily basis. Now I'm going to take that thought process and move it down to a 4-hour chart. And on the 4-hour chart, I'm saying to myself, well, if I apply those same principles, then we're at a really, really interesting point here, because we can see that we've got a bearish gap here. Until this is closed above on a 4-hour scale, this will be used most of the time, or most logically, for repricing for price to go lower. All right, price grinding up into these gaps. We've taken liquidity from the lows, price finding resistance in these gaps and selling off. We close above it. Once again, I think we start making a move on these highs up here. But as long as we're within it, we just need to show caution. Again, we can look at all of these different areas. And if I was looking at something like this, see, we have a small consolidation. See how this one's larger. See this big move up. See how it had manipulation. They're the things I'm looking for here. Why is it manipulation? Because price has taken out this high, sending the market in the wrong direction, and then has collapsed lower. So for me, this provides a really key area here, right, that I want to see when price gets up to here. So I think we get above this, we start closing above this. This for me is then the most logical place, right, that I think we can see price pump into here. All right, so that's what I'm going to be looking at on a 4-hour scale. So we're just going to apply those same principles across some different charts quickly, and then we're going to finish ourselves up. So at the moment, I've got Sol and I've got INJ as well for our boy Chris. So if you've got any more, Imran, hello mate. Sorry, I didn't see you sneak in there earlier. I was just looking back through Nit as well. Our dear friend Nit. What a lovely group we always have on these shows. Such a pleasure. So let's stop mulling around, shall we? Let's take a look at Sol. Okay, we can see using similar principles here, right? Looking for these gaps. Now, if I go here onto the daily, really, really simply with Sol, this is what we were looking for. We were looking at this reaction here. Initial assumption that price would come back and look to kind of take out this low, which it didn't do. But look, this was the gap, like I just showed you on the Bitcoin chart. That was a daily gap capping the market. Why is it capping the market? Because price came into it. Resistance, resistance, resistance. What happened here? Strong close above turns it from a bearish gap to an inversion, meaning it's an area we expect to find support till it at least the next high. All right. Now, what happened at the next high? Well, look at these levels. Look how price reacts. Look at the way the body rips through this area. There are obviously just not enough sellers there. So you want to see this area held. When you do that, you're then looking for higher prices. Price is always in this flux of support and resistance, right? Quite simply, you come up to this level here. If you mark up your key highs and your key lows, watch how price reacts. This isn't the cleanest, but look what happened. Price closed above, strong close. Yes, price got back down below here, but remember, we're in bullish structure, so the chances are it's just looking for that bullish catalyst from a gap. It then expanded higher. Ultimately, look at the difference at this level. Price wicked up to here. Yeah, there's no close above that. There's just a really ugly bearish pin bar candle here with a short nose, or like a bearish hammer candle, you hear of it as well. Then price has started to break down. Look, it's once you get rejection at these levels, you'll hear the legend himself, SE, say you've got a deviation here. Price has then got back underneath. It's showing weakness. So then we target liquidity lower down, which is this low. Look how price then closes below that low. So you're saying, okay, price just simply isn't quite finished going deep enough yet. So you outline the key areas of liquidity lower down that price can move towards. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You switch your bias accordingly. And from there, you can then look to make some moves. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of these very quickly. Let's have a look. Taha, you're the legend, my friend. Taha Khan, our very, very wonderful head of our prop desk, our inverse prop desk over at TBN. You can find information for that in the description as well. And if not, please do reach out and I'll get you hooked up. Matt, yeah, of course we can, mate. Let's take a look at render. Rune, Craigie boy, we can do that. And Brett as well. We do some speed charting as well. And thank you, Imran. Always lovely. But yeah, guys, if you are enjoying it, please do give us a like. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm. And if you don't like it, as long as you're constructive and not a twat, please just leave a message in the comments below with what you would like to see more or less of. So let's rip through some charts, guys. We're going to get these done. We're going to focus on Sol, Injective, Render, Rune and Brett. So same principles. Where are we at the moment? Well, quite simply, we've had this really nice reaction at this low. All right, we've come in, swept, boom, price has started to rip. Now, this is a really lovely reaction. We've got this big bodied pin bar here, but just to focus on the here and now rather than the historical, this on a daily scale is what I want to see closed above. All right, at the moment, it's a bearish gap. Yes, we've got a bearish gap here as well, but I want to see initial strength by price closing a daily above that. Price closes the daily above that. We have these other gaps to contend with, but I would see this as at least a short-term victory for the bulls. Yeah, that would then go to purple. And I look at this for a platform to hold to move higher. Now looking at this here on the 4 hour, once again, people familiar with the channel will, probably hear this a lot from me, but the inversion gap is the thing that starts it here. Bearish gap, closed above. Look how price then flips this area, strong close, dips into it, finds support, and then moves higher. So what are we doing now on a 4 hour scale? Well, quite simply, we're in a bullish state of delivery, right? Inversion gap, bullish gap. Now we know we've got this area to watch for on a daily scale, so we can't get ahead of ourselves. Brick Dinny, yeah, we'll finish on AAVE, okay? So we've got about 9 minutes left in the show, guys. So we're going to cut it there in terms of requests, please. So we're going to Sol, Injective, Render, Rune, Brett, and AAVE, and we'll get them put out. So remember, on a daily scale, you need a daily close above here, right? But looking at this on a 4 hour scale, this is looking really nice, yeah? We've got a nice structure recovery here. We're reacting bullishly at bullish gaps. So what do I want to see from here? Well, quite simply, if price is looking to pull back from here, then this is the area that I want to see hold, because that's the last bullish order block, yeah, or point that the buyers stepped in here, right? Down close candle, closed above with a beautiful big engulfing candle. This is what we want to see hold. Now we're in a bullish state of delivery. I'm not as concerned with the gaps and that on the left side. I'm looking at them as more of a draw. I'm looking at how price reacts as it's hunting down liquidity above the highs and lows, right? So this is also a key area for me at the moment here, all right? So I think price is looking to see this as kind of like a little corrective area. So again, on a daily scale, we want to see that closed above. As long as we remain above this order block here, or while we're within that, then I'll be looking on the lower time frames for this kind of pattern where we see a local low swept, and you want to see it engaging, right, with like a higher time frame level, something like this, yeah? So high time frame, maybe that's that order block there. Price comes down into this area. You see price whip down, take liquidity below its local low, break and close above it's the high that swept the low, yeah? So here's your sweep. And here's the high being closed above. And then you can be buyers in here. It gives you a brilliant way to just look to be a buyer here. You've got your risk calculated, and then you can target your upside from there. All right, guys? So just a little insight on what I'd look to do in terms of making that tradable. 6G, when is it ever not manipulation? It's all driven by bots and algos and whales of each. Yeah, I completely agree with you, mate. I'm not in any disagreement with anything about that statement. What I've always tried to do in my career is try to find a way to find these signatures. Like, I kind of gave up a long time ago on the idea that, you're going to be able to control these mechanisms. These are huge entities, right? These are like, these are countries that are buying. They're massive funds, stuff like that. We can't pretend to kind of understand the areas and what they're doing and trying to catch falling knives and that. But what we can do is we can find and look into price. And then we can see within that how we get these signatures to react. And typically for me, I'm looking for old highs, old lows, where I know there's liquidity, because my major players, market makers, will want to attack that liquidity, and also gaps where prices typically repricing. All right. Can I ask you mentioned to join your Discord? Is to DM you on X, but I can't see its own DMs. I know, just pop it in a comment for us, mate. Or actually, 6G, if you just scroll up a little bit, I'll pop it up on the show on the screen for you now. Just a few comments back, maybe 10 comments back. There's the link to the Discord there. Don't have to sign up for it. You can just get yourself straight in there and start enjoying it, all right? But if you do have any issues with that, please do reach out and let me know, and I'll make sure that you're covered, all right? And okay, mate, a big sell-off in a few hours. Let's see. That diagram changed my life. Yeah. Tony, you legend. So, okay, let's have a look then. So Sol, quite simply for me, we hold this level, we hold this order block. I think we push up from here. This high is going to be key. If we don't correct down to this, then I want to see a strong close above this. Then I think we start attacking these highs over here. Right, let's look. 6 minutes. INJ. Let's have a look at INJ, shall we? Right, so daily. So the first thing that you guys should be paying attention to is the fact that Our boy Chris here is a big fan of INJ from a fundamental perspective, which should not be ignored, especially in these market conditions. Here's the key area of consolidation that I'm watching. Yes, this consolidation in here that led to this massive rip higher. And once again, we can see we had a good reaction here. You know, there's an argument that we kind of probably came into this area here if we allow for the bodies of the candles, for the down close candles here to here. But either way, you're looking at areas here. They're very often, you know, specific lines like people will show. Price comes in, nice reaction up. Price comes in again, nice reaction up again. Now we've come a bit deeper into this area this time, so kind of showing a little bit more caution, but we are in a good area of support. If we're looking at the sweep that we've had here and the fact that we've taken out this really key low down here, I think actually this is a really good place of any for INJ to catch a bounce. But quite simply, one thing that worries me a little bit is these equal lows below. Often engineered liquidity from market makers make a very tempting target. But there's two things that I'm watching, and this is basically as clean as it gets. Prices reacting from this bullish gap below us here. Yeah, so bullish gap, see how price is holding this. Does look a little bit weak here, though, I have to say. You know, as it's kind of digging into this, you normally want to see a bit of a stronger recovery. The fact of the matter is, before we recover bullish structure here, or certainly before we invert anything, we've got this big bearish gap that we're in, right? So for me on a 4-hour scale, I would personally be sacrificing the slightly lower buying price. I mean, I'd definitely be happy to add to positions here and dollar cost average in all the way. Be happy to buy this lower. But from a price action perspective, I'd want to see this closed above on a 4-hour scale, and then we would invert that and then look for this to be the platform that we then chase a little bit higher. So overall, I still think good area. Let's just give it a real big zoom out as well. Yeah, look at the weekly low that was taken here. If price is going to come any lower, we have this large weekly inefficiency down here that I'd be happy to bid very hard. Yeah, but again, we've taken key liquidity here. If price does move down into this area, my assumption would be that it would be a last flush before price then looks to kind of get back and start delivering on a bullish scale. So now render, R-E-N-D-E-R, USD. Let's have a look at this one, shall we? I'm not sure I've ever charted this actually, chaps. So daily. Okay, so again, we can see this. Actually, really interesting one here. Kind of a couple of areas of consolidation. I think you've got the higher one here all the way down into this, but actually this kind of move here, especially this move down, I think probably want to make sure we incorporate all of that. Remember, this is just an area we're looking for a reaction, guys, all right? The key thing here is what kind of liquidity has price taken. We can see it's taken this low. It has left a couple of untapped lows a bit lower down, right? Now, very difficult to know exactly where it's going to react in here, and that's when the 4-hour chart kind of comes into its own. And actually, we've got a nice reaction here from price, right? This is looking a little bit more like Solana. So we've got the inversion here. That set our base, okay? Now at the moment, we're kind of reacting from a very skinny gap down here that, you know, this has now been repriced. I mean, you can see the wick through it, yeah? So that's been rebalanced, and now price is looking to move higher. I think the key thing here is I think there's going to be a lot of liquidity above this wick. So from a 4-hour scale, once again, you know, we've now closed above. See these two down close candles here? Right, we've just closed above that here. So I just want to see this hold. Right, this area should technically hold. If this is the order block that's leading to higher prices, this area should hold. Signs of weakness and price coming back down, like for example, if price came back down below this, then we've still got this inversion to hold here. So this area for me is the key area we're looking to offer strength. And I think then we can see some more upside on this. Again, at the end of the day, if you close back below this here, we're chasing down these lows and probably even a little bit lower. So let's take a look at Rune as well. Okay, I think basically Rune, yeah, we can see with Rune looking a little bit similar here, except we've just kind of got a much skinnier area of mitigation to look at here, right? So, you know, buyers stepped in here aggressively before, buyers stepped in here aggressively before. And again, look, you know, we can see the effect that we got from the buyers stepping in this one before. Got the buyers, then we got that expansion. And notice how price works its way out to hold this area above it. That's what's kind of making me feel here that this is a really good reaction. But one issue that we might have here, right, is that whenever you see like a bearish gap emerge in an area of mitigation or vice versa, if you see a bullish gap in a bearish area of mitigation, you want to be careful of that. So for me, Rune is really simple here. I want to see this daily closed above, and the 4 hour I think is going to look a little bit similar here in terms of suppressing price, right? So look, unfortunately for that candle there, well, you can see when we zoom in how the body just wasn't quite able to close back above this here, right? Oh no, actually it was. So maybe very, very tricky here. So we've had a very minor close above, slightly long upside wick. So what I would say here is we have inversed this now. So that shouldn't really be that bearish anymore if price is going to continue higher. I'm going to be looking at this level here to hold as the order block. That's 3.141. All right. As long as we hold this, I think we push up higher. I think we come back down and we start closing below this low, I think, which is at 3.087. I think then we expect to purge lower. All right. But really, really nice and clean on there, actually. So then Brett. Let's look at our daily. So Brett actually here we can see very clean on a daily scale is delivering from a bearish gap. What has price done over here? Well, price is kind of holding this really, really kind of big expansion level here, which is our area of mitigation. So while price kind of holds that level here, quite simply, if this is holding a support and we close above here, I think then we make our way slowly but surely towards this high over here. All right, 0.14558. It's on a daily scale, guys, as well, remember. So that's it. You're in 6G. Awesome, mate. Very much welcome. Look forward to speaking to you inside the community. So while we're kind of holding under this, we want to see these bullish gaps hold. So for me, as long as we hold this, then I think we move for these higher prices. We close below this, and I think we're going to come down for this swing low about 0.05847. All right, and then AAVE, last one. Back to Binance. Let's have a look what AAVE's got for us. Wow. I mean, that's a hell of a wick. That really is. Considering it's not anything... you're very welcome, Craig, and everybody else as well. Thank you very much for the positive feedback. Same for you as well, 6G, and everybody else. Apologies if I have missed your comments, guys. Just trying to rip through this at the moment. So with this one, it's interesting. I would have really expected price to kind of come down into here and kind of make an attack on this side. The fact that it's only taken this kind of, internal low, if you like, range low, range high, if you think of it like that, then this is a really strong reaction. However, same thing, we've just inverted this, which is really, really powerful on a daily scale, in my opinion. However, if we close back below it, invalidates it, and then we come down back for this low, I think. That's personally how I'm seeing it, and maybe lower. Again, we can see the inversion that we had down here, but I would say in terms of looking at what's supporting price here, it's looking a little bit shaky because I'd really want to see this hold here as the order block. Yeah. If we come down and we close below this low, then we're going to start coming down towards this gap, at least I would think, but probably kind of coming down to chase this low at 76.19. How price reacts here is going to be really key. And the last thing to kind of say on this as well, guys, is looking at equity markets. We've got strong equity markets at the moment. We've got a strong dollar at the moment as well. So we just want to be a little bit cautious. The fact we've obviously got strong Bitcoin at the moment, which is good, but also means that it can suppress alts a little bit too. All right. Magda, very welcome, mate. And for everybody else too. And you know what? I'll just very quickly get this in there for you. Zvelios, woo. Very, very quick look at this before we call it a day. But daily woo is, I mean, I think the lowest that you're going to look at here, right, is coming down for this kind of level there. I think a lot of liquidity below that level, certainly a level I would be a keen buyer at down there, which is at 0.100,78925. Again, though, we need to appreciate the price is pretty bearish here. We've got a big bearish gap here that price is drawing towards. Price very rarely moves in a straight line, so quite often you'll see liquidity below that low attacked. Price then move down, repricing the gap, and then move to liquidity lower. So we want to see a daily close above that level there. That's the immediate daily gap above us. On a 4-hour scale, this is a really nice recovery. Okay, really big bearish gap here that was just ripped through. you can see this beautiful support and resistance flip here, right? Big close above, price corrects low, and now it's moving up. Key thing here is that we've got this liquidity. Oh, the key thing here is we got this liquidity, so I want to see price close above this level at 0.14035,668. And then I think it starts making a move minimal towards these equal highs. But again, daily close above this before we see the real upside. All right, guys, wishing you all a fantastic week ahead. Please don't forget to check out, and you can join our Discord for absolutely free. It's open for the next 2 months for everyone. So the quicker you get involved, then the quicker you can enjoy the most of it. And I really look forward to seeing some of you in there and really hope that it's useful for you all. I won't be here on Monday. I'm taking a short break, long weekend, taking the husky away to some peace and quiet in the woods. And from there, I will be back with you next Wednesday. All right. But I look forward to you reaching out and seeing you inside the community and helping you every way that we possibly can. Have a fantastic week ahead, guys. Trade safe. And I look forward to seeing you all around the nest.